I'd like to do is actually for us to hear that proposal. Okay, so I believe someone's prepared, quite carefully thought of the wording for this that they're going to read out to us on this proposal. So where might this person be? Bryn. Where's Bryn? Can Bryn come to the mic, please? It's your big moment. Okay. Is this Bryn? Okay, we need someone to bring this proposal. The whole meeting's come together to make a proposal, and the proposal holder doesn't seem to be here. Is anyone else aware of this proposal? That's right. Yeah, this sheet I've been told is background information, but there's quite a short, simple proposal which someone's been thinking about, which I need for them to bring to the group. Otherwise we'll move on from this. If no one wants to propose this, we're not going to discuss it. So, last call for Bryn and this proposal. Okay. Okay. Okay, in which case I'm going to come back to that. We're going to move on to the media group proposal. So the media group proposal, which is supposed to be quite a short one, was also brought to the table here. So anyone from the media group here to bring that proposal? Yes, Bryn. Just Bryn. Okay, Bryn's here. Okay, we're going to stick with the Bryn. Bryn's here. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so is your proposal? Sorry. Okay, I think we've decided to have this here. So just be as specific and as clear as you can.
Hello. No, don't worry about that, it's nothing to do with the document. Thank you though for your support. I was asked to go away by the General Assembly and take into account... Sorry, can you hear me? Sorry. So I was asked by the Assembly to go away and take into account your very valuable criticism about the statement. We have gone away and we've amended the statement. What I intend to do is just to go through the amendments with you. I've got a few copies of it here to go around. Oh, I'm so tired. Please, I'm just so tired.
Just to clarify from process, first of all, the green sheet apparently is a separate proposal. Apparently it's a counter proposal that someone's distributing. Some people here have no idea what we're talking about, so I need this proposal to be clear and simply presented, okay? So can one of you two come up and present this proposal, presuming that people have no idea what you're talking about, okay? And be very clear about the wording you're using, please.
Hi folks, okay, there are some pieces of paper going round with the amendments on, but seeing as we're going to keep this short... Okay, what the paper going around is background information for you, because if you aren't clear on the issues, you can't make an informed decision. So this will give you a little bit of narrative to why these proposals are getting put forward, okay? And I'm just going to run through the amendments, because all the other stuff's been approved. Right. Okay, I will read this through in its initial form, and then I will read through the amendments, and I'll do it line by line. The first line was a demand for a democratisation of the City of London Corporation. There was a change to that. The word demand has been substituted with statement. I'll read this out in a paragraph, because there are no changes in this paragraph. Over and over again, we have seen that there is in this country another power with which has its seat at Westminster. The City of London, a convenient term for a collection of financial interests, is able to assert itself against the government of a country. Those who control money can pursue a policy at home and abroad, contrary to that which has been decided by the people. That was written by Clement Attlee in the 1940s. Next paragraph will remain unchanged. The city can no longer be tolerated as a state within a state, governing above and beyond the authority of Parliament. This situation is undemocratic and unsustainable. That refers to the status of Westminster being similar to the Vatican status within Rome, if you understand the phrase, a state within a state, just to clarify. In the city and its anachronistic institutions, our collective betrayal is writ large. That has one change. In the city and its anachronistic institutions, our collective betrayal is clear. Next sentence. The city is an anomaly in British politics. Hyphen. It has more power than the Scottish Parliament. There are no changes in that line. In fact, I'm going to read the rest of it out because there are no changes to the rest of this text. Democratic reform of the City of London Corporation is urgently needed. The ancient political institutions of the city are surely unconstitutional and unfair. By permitting city firms to vote in elections, the banks are afforded a disproportionate level of representation at the expense of local residents. This is not in keeping with democracy. The risk taking of, right, this paragraph, I'm going to read through most of it because there's only one change at the end. The risk taking of the banks has made our lives precarious. They are accountable to no one but themselves, unduly influencing government policy across the centuries, both at home and abroad. This is not democracy. Standing in the tradition of Clement Attlee, we demand the need for democratisation of the City of London. I'll repeat that last sentence again with the change in it. Standing in the tradition of Clement Attlee, we state the need for democratisation of the City of London Corporation. This next sentence is going to be unchanged. Reform of a corporation's political institution will mean, and number one, there is no change to this, an end to business bloc votes in all elections, full democratisation of the city's political institutions. That is point one. Point two, there are no changes to this. Abolition of the office of Remembrancer in the House of Commons. Point three, again there are no changes to point three. Abolition of existing secrecy practices within the city and total and transparent reform of its institutions in order to end corporate tax fraud. Point four, this has significant changes. The City of London Police to be decommissioned and its officers brought under the jurisdiction of the Metropolitan Police Force. It is amended as follows. The City of London Police to be decommissioned and a new independent police force created. The fact is, I'll give you a bit of background there, the City of London Police Force are paid for by the banks. Okay? That's why there's only 800 of them. And they've got 6 mounted units apparently. I feel sorry for their horses. The abolition of the point five. Abolition of the offices of Lord Mayor of the City of London, the Sheriffs and the Aldermen. This is also significantly changed. It will now read, abolition of the offices of the Lord Mayor of, of the City of London. That's a technical point there. The Sheriffs and the Aldermen. In addition to those, there is an addition to it. There will be an addition that is the ceremonial role of Lord Mayor will be retained. Alright, point 6, now we're to, again significant changes. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee to examine corruption within the city and its institutions. It is amended in such a way as to read, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to examine corruption within the city and its institutions. An independent body set up to monitor corruption within the city. So that would be an ongoing body, not just acting retrogressively. Don't know that. Find out. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, okay, so that wasn't exactly the idea of a short, concise proposal, but that was a very long statement. I've been told that you've been discussing this over the last 2 days at length. To clarify, it's this white bit of paper going around, okay? This, as far as I understand, has been written by individuals, not the group, not the General Assembly. They have been bringing it to the General Assembly to try and get consensus such that we can release it as a collective. That's my understanding of the process so far. Can I just, before we start this discussion, because I know there's lots of people here, can I get a temperature check on people's willingness to actually discuss this issue? People want to discuss it. So if you want to discuss this issue at length now, or some length, can I see hands in the air? Okay. And if you don't want to discuss this now, and I'm specifically asking for people that are involved in the process here, so I know some people watching it, if you really don't want to, can I see hands in the air? Okay, so there are a few hands there. I want to briefly take reasons why we don't want to discuss this, the people blocking it, okay, and then try to move on. The people disagreeing with it. So, can you come up?
Yes, I think for people who are new, it's probably going to be a bit confusing, but has been a process over the past couple of days where a lot of people feel that the systems that we've worked out, the process that we've worked out here, in order to get our views, get consensus on our views and get them portrayed to the public accurately, have been seriously undermined by the people who are putting forward this proposal. The fact is that Maurice Glassman, who's a member of the Labour Party, a leader of Blue Labour, saw this proposal and commented on it in the media before most of us here had an opportunity to comment on it. There is also, and we've also made passed a consensus against political parties being the face of this occupation here. We've asked them not to be on the front, and yet here we are associated with Blue Labour in The Guardian. It's not surprising. It's not surprising that people have taken it as demands. We were told by Bryn that it was not going to be demands this time when he brought it back to the Assembly, and yet here it is again in the form of demands. It's not true. You may call it a statement, but the fact is that anybody listening to that will interpret it as demands, and we cannot see it. We were told that you would bring it back on paper for us to see so that we could just look at it carefully before we considered it. We do not have it on paper. We have something else on paper, but we do not have the statement that we're supposed to be passing. We don't know why we don't have it on paper. There are a number of things in this statement. It's also not true that it was passed except for some amendments. Many of the amendments that people put yesterday are not included. The changes have not been made, and even the things that were there before that he says were approved, they were not approved. They were merely listened to.
Okay. At the moment, I don't believe we're doing direct responses, okay? And it must be something factual, okay? I think these are opinions. At the moment, okay, we're discussing the process is, do we want to discuss this in the General Assembly, okay? Now, there was a few people that said that they didn't, and I want them to voice their opinions, then we can collectively make a decision about whether we're going to discuss this. So there was two other people. Okay.
Assembly, I have to tell you something. It's very, very important. It's not just about this process. The woman who is standing here before has blocked every single issue that has come to Assembly. This cannot continue. This is a democracy. We came to critique this society, not to reproduce its institutions and its flaws. I have been accused by this woman of working for Maurice Glassman. I am homeless. I do not work for Maurice Glassman. She has slandered me for 3 days. For 3 days.
Okay. Can I just ask everyone for a couple of things? First of all, can we speak and listen to each other with respect? Okay, for process, this is absolutely fundamental. We cannot sit here and shout abuses at each other and try and work collectively. Process does not work like that, okay? We need to respect each other, and also can we respect the process, okay? I'm facilitating this. I'm not a perfect facilitator, but I'm trying to facilitate it the best I can. So people can try and respect that process, otherwise we will have no process, okay? At the moment, I'm trying to ascertain whether or not people here want to discuss this proposal. It's been brought by individuals here. I can see that some of you do, but others don't, okay? So we're trying to work collectively to make a decision about doing this. Okay, I want to invite someone else to speak about why they don't want to have this discussed today.
Hello everybody, everyone take a nice deep breath in, and a nice deep breath out again. Okay. My name's Lucy. I'm a volunteer working on media, but specifically press. And we had a meeting today, and I'll give you an update about that at another point. But the press team really wanted to convey that they have been contacted by lots of people suggesting that the statement that was drawn up by our friends was not approved by the GA, and that it should be discussed by the GA and approved by the GA in order to observe correct process. Now, and I definitely think, friends, that we should be looking at it, but I don't think reading things out in a long form like that is the best way to go about it from your point of view either, because it took us a long time to go through each word on the original statement that we did approve as a GA over the first weekend we were here. So I'd advise us take a bit more time. That's why I want to not talk about it right now. We need a bit more time to look at those words. Also, in terms of process for press, we understand that this was sent to the media as an official statement on behalf of the Assembly, and it didn't go through the press team. And that's what we're here to do, which is to communicate respectfully and accurately on behalf of the GA and do no more in terms of adding or taking away the message and the political voice of the Assembly here. So really, I just wanted to add a message of respect to those people who've done some hard work on this statement, and also respectfully suggest that we spend more time considering what is quite an intense document at a time which is quite critical, because we might be involved in legal action with the City of London. We need to make strategic and smart decisions for the sake of the occupation and for the sake of the worldwide movement. There's a lot of people wanting to make political demands. That's something we need to come to together using consensus, and that's all I have to say.
So just to remind people, please do use your hand signals. I saw some people use it a lot when we're discussing this. At the moment, we're simply discussing the question of whether or not we want to discuss this proposal in this group here. I know it sounds like a very long-winded way of doing things, but it's the fairest way according to the process. So I'm taking a couple more points on people who think that we shouldn't be discussing this statement in this meeting right now. Okay, that's the points that I'm taking.
Okay, I just would like to say that this statement has come back again in a very, I feel like it's been imposed to us. It's been brought up, and it seems that whatever happens, they're going to try to impose it, change a little bit, and then try to pass it as like our statement. To start with that, I would like as well that we recognize that demands are something that people in the government are going to try to change for us. No, that's not what we need, because the government is not going to listen to you. What we need is objectives, goals, things that we're going to do and that we're going to try to change, no demands. And I don't like the way that all this paper has been passed for days now. It's been imposed. I really, really dislike it, and I'm very upset of the process that this has taken place.
So we're going to take 2 or 3 more points quite specifically on why you don't want this to be discussed now. Then I'm going to try and move this discussion on, otherwise we'll be here all day discussing process. So we've got 2 or 3 more points on this. And please don't repeat a point if it's already been made, okay, and try and be concise.
I'll try. I don't want this being discussed tonight, but I'm confident that if it is get discussed, it won't be passed, because it's such a disgusting travesty of the democratic process that, you'd be really like, I have faith in you to be able to spot it, right? Because this was conjured by individuals behind your back. That's not the way it's supposed to be done. You're supposed to discuss it in front of each other so you can figure out what you want to do. That's not what happened. It was then leaked to the press, and they're using that to try and convince you to push this through, going, wow, you should do this. The press is excited about it, so you shouldn't think about it too much. You shouldn't be informed. You should just go with what we want, our little agenda. That is not what democracy looks like. It's not what I'm here for. I fundamentally oppose it, and so should you.
No, look, there is another shout out to go out to this. I just want to highlight one important point. Occupy LSX is actually in quite a lot of trouble right now. There's a lot of founder members are leaving it here because of the apathy and inability to make decisions. This would not have been forced if people had actually set to work from day 2 or day 3 and actually done what we were here for, to discuss politics and make this a better world. Number 2, a lot of the people who did a lot of work here are actually leaving. Bear is going, I'm going, your tech team's falling apart. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
2 points. First of all, can I remind people of respect, okay? Can we speak to each other like normal human beings and try and respect each other? Secondly, okay, we're trying to deal with the process here, so please try and stick to that point. At the moment, we've heard from 3 or 4 people who've said that they'd rather we didn't discuss this document tonight, okay? I want to get a proposal from one of those people or someone else about what they would suggest we do with this document. If it's simply we don't discuss it tonight, or if there's something else. I want a proposal to be made for us to be discussed. We cannot presume that we will discuss this document unless we've got some kind of group consensus, okay? So any other points on how we move forward with this document? I want a proposal from someone to be tested, okay? If anyone's got a copy of the document, this gentleman here would like a copy of the white paper. Could anyone bring him a copy of the document, please? So proposals and how we move forward with this, I want to move. Okay, there's clearly concerns by some people. I want a proposal that can be tested by the group. Okay, so.
Sorry, I'm not used to talk with the microphone. This is something not many people knows, but in Iceland they have drawn a new constitution. That's something that happened in June. They sacked the government, decided not to pay the bank debts, and they did say that it wasn't something that belonged to the citizens, and they started drawing a new constitution, which has been now, I think is almost ready, through the internet. All the world could put suggestions, so it's been drawn on the internet. So if there is some document here that represents everybody or the Occupy movement, we should be able to contribute each of us on the internet. I mean, which is the thing that's taking us together here.
So I think that was a proposal to have an online forum. Yeah. Okay, so that was a proposal to have some kind of online forum to discuss this. Can I take other proposals for how we move forward with this document today? Okay, so who are you taking hands?
Hello everybody. Now, just in the interest of clarity, I actually support the content of that document. However, it is merely one technical issue amongst a myriad of technical issues that need to be done. So it's not suitable as a first demand, in my opinion, okay? What I would like to propose is that we choose something more fundamental, which affects the lives of everybody in this country. What I would like to propose is that we demand direct democracy in the UK. What I mean by that is that we get rid of the House of Lords and install the entire electorate as the upper house of Parliament. So we can amend or reject any legislation that comes through the Parliament, and we can also table our own legislation. Can I have a temperature check, please? Anyone? Well, that'll do, but thank you for listening.
Friends, thank you very much. I'm going to be very, very brief indeed. There is tremendous merit in the document in terms of its content. There are a lot of good points to be made in regard to the Corporation of London. What we have is a toxification of all this goodness by the connection to Blue Labour. The allegation that there is no connection to Blue Labour needs to be investigated, and until that document goes hand in hand with an absolute repudiation of any connection with Blue Labour, I would not feel comfortable proceeding with this. And I'd ask also those people who are senior officers in Blue Labour who are present here to have the integrity of identifying themselves, because I can see you on my line.
I'd just like to make one reminder for respecting each other. This is a safe space here, okay? Secondly, clearly people have quite strong opinions about this, both for and against, okay? I'm here to facilitate. Clearly, given the fact that there's such a strong diversity of opinions, okay, what I'm looking for are proposals not on the actual statement itself, which is what this is becoming, but how we move forward in terms of our process, okay? Do we want to spend the next hour discussing this? Do people want to break into small groups and discuss this? Do people want to do other options, okay? And what I'm looking for is proposals to move on with this, because it's quite clear that people feel strongly both for discussing this proposal and not discussing it. And given that there's these strong opinions on both sides, we're clearly not near to making consensus right now, okay? So I'm looking for proposals for how to move this process forward, okay? That's what I'm looking for, specific concrete proposals for moving this forward, okay?
There's two issues here, the process that was followed and the content of the document itself. The process that was followed was appalling. I overheard a conversation that I won't mention here, in which someone was discussing sending the document to Maurice Glassman. That's an abusive process if it hadn't come before the General Assembly first. Also, I don't think there should be secret meetings at night in the information tent any longer. People have been asked to leave violently, and that should stop happening. With regards to the content of the statement itself, I agree with a lot of the content. There's a lot of really factual points about the City of London. I suggest we set up a working group, or some working group that already exists that would be appropriate, looks into the City of London itself. It's a very interesting institution. You can make a lot of criticisms of it. So I suggest my proposal would be to do that, and to then think about the most tactical time of releasing the statement, if it's, or what we're going to say. But it'd be good to raise public awareness of the City of London and what it does. That's what I'd say. Thanks.
Remind people to use hands when someone's speaking, okay? I only saw about 2 or 3 people, just to remind them. Who was next?
Hello. Okay, I respect what everyone's doing here, and I haven't been able to be as big a part of it as I'd like to. But I'd just like to remind people that you're here to represent the 99% of people, not just the people that are here. I'd like to remind you that obviously you have yourselves to look after as well, so if you're feeling stressed, please go home and have a bath and come back the next day or a couple of days later. Don't push yourself into the ground. This occupation hopefully will be here this time next year, or at least until Christmas, and you've got a long time to make a statement. Don't feel pressured by the press to get a statement out of you, because all they want to do is criticise it. That's why they want you to make one. And I think the fact that this is an open discussion that anyone can come along and be a part of, and I have done a couple of times so far, and I'm just about getting myself ready to be able to actually stay here. I bought a sleeping bag today if anyone's got space in their tent. So please, just keep it going, keep your morale up, keep the meetings going, keep the democracy going, and don't feel pressured by the press and the outside powers that be. And obviously you can educate people about the Corporation of London without making a statement. Just use the facts. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for that. And again, just to remind people, at the moment we're discussing proposals for how to move on with this discussion. Bear in mind 2 factors. One, we don't want to be here all night, I presume. I don't anyway. And secondly, there's quite clearly a wide range of opinions here. So when you make your proposals, don't try and make it just from the bottom of your own personal opinions, but try and make a proposal that you think everyone will be happy with, okay? So try and work towards a proposal that you think will be acceptable to everyone, okay? So I'm still looking for proposals to move on with this discussion, okay?
Hello, I think there's 2 issues here. The one is the substantive content of the proposal, and the other is the process by which the proposal has been put forward. These 2 things are currently being mixed up, and that's leading to a debate which is causing far too much tension. So what I propose is that there is a separate meeting tomorrow, maybe at 6 o'clock or something, before the General Assembly, in which people who are interested in the process by which this has happened can meet and discuss that and try to come to some kind of resolution which can then be fed back to the General Assembly. Depending on the outcome of that, then this proposal may be brought forward again at a future General Assembly, depending upon the discussion about the process. But we should separate the process from the content. There should be a separate meeting about the process tomorrow, and this discussion should end now. That's what I propose.
Hello everybody. Hello. Actually, first of all, I give my reason why we shouldn't follow this document, and then I got a actually proposal for that. A part of how this document design, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this democratization of the city and property, or corporations, which we are all the main target of the occupation is to get rid of city bankers